Why is Israel starving the people of Gaza?
But again, as you said before, genocide, starving, ethnical cleansing. My God, everything is here. I say again, nonsense, lies. And honestly, sir, the same way you accuse me, I accuse you of being an anti-Semite, anti-Israeli journalist. And this is what you are.
Mr. Boaz, Bismuth, thank you so much for joining us on NRK.
Thank you for inviting me.
What is Israel up to in Gaza right now? Because many people don't seem to understand what your game plan is.
So my game plan, I can tell you what I don't want in Gaza, first of all. I don't want a terrorist entity to reign in Gaza, not only for me, but also for the people who live in Gaza. I want them to be prosperous, and the better their life is, the better for me. This is my desire.
Sir, you didn't answer my question. What is Israel's game plan in Gaza? Because when the war started, your government stated 3 goals. You want to eliminate Hamas. You want to make Israel safer for all the people who were displaced. And you want to bring all the hostages back. 18 months into this bloodshed, you haven't achieved any of these goals. So what are you doing in Gaza?
We fight. We fight. We fight to bring back our hostages. And it's tough.
Through war.
It's tough. Through how would you like us to get them back?
Because
you're asking a question. You're asking a question.
Listen, we have to stick to the facts here, sir.
That's what I'm doing.
The majority of your hostages were not released through fighting. They were released at the negotiating table. 150 Israeli hostages were released in 2 rounds thanks to negotiations and a ceasefire. Yet you resumed the war.
So if I listen to you, I stop the war immediately. I leave my hostages over there. I go back to Tel Aviv.
No, they get released if you stop the war. It happened twice.
It happened twice.
You stopped the war.
2014.
Ceasefire was in place, and your hostages were released.
I wish. I mean, if
and
you
yet
release them...
5 weeks ago, you resumed the war.
Yeah.
And you saw your own people taking to the streets.
So for you,
against the war.
For you, I should stop the war.
Not for me.
No.
For the hostage
according to your
families.
question, for the hostage family, I meet them, in the parliament, Israeli parliament.
They want the war?
They want the kids, they want their fathers, they want the family back. I want them back.
Yes, but they want you to continue the war?
Some do, and some don't.
Yeah.
You know that they're divided if you're a journalist and you do the work.
Yes.
But I know what is Hamas. And Hamas wants Israel out of Gaza. Hamas stays in Gaza and hostages with them. What Israel wants, hostages back and Gaza without Hamas and Gaza for the Gazawi people. That's what I want.
Mr. Bismuth, the fact of the matter is that last time there was a ceasefire in January, 45 of your hostages were released through negotiations, through the ceasefire. Then you resumed the war. Now there's no hostage release.
Let me tell you something.
So why did you resume the war?
This is a bit, how would I say, it's a bit strange. A bit strange that a journalist between a country like Israel who was attacked, and a group of terrorists, you believe the terrorist. Unbelievable.
No, I believe the facts, sir.
So the facts, I'm talking about the facts.
War since October 9th.
But I'm talking about the facts.
The fact is that hostages have not been released through your war. How many hostages have you been able to release through military action?
Israel released through military actions.
How many?
Not all of them. This is obvious.
No,
Israel has
the number.
I know the numbers, but I'll tell you something.
How many through military action?
Sir, I'm not in inquiry here, but I'm answering you.
Yeah.
Israel, when we had the option in November 2023 to bring them back, that's what we did.
Yes.
It's not your kids, it's my kids who are fighting in Gaza. My daughter is in Gaza. My daughter is risking her life in order to bring hostages back, in order to make sure that Hamas is not there anymore. It's my kid, not yours. So believe me, I take a risk. And why do I take the risk? Because the Middle East will be different. Because I want to live in tranquility. I want my kids not to have terrorists beside them. Would you like me to be honest with you? The fact that I have hostages in Gaza, of course, ties my hand. I mean, this is obviously, I do not want to risk the lives of my hostages. These are my brothers and sisters. So when you know that they're in tunnels of Gaza, it is obvious that Israel will not fight in the same way. And only to remind you and to show you, you're a journalist.
So you're showing restraint in Gaza right now? Is that what you're saying?
Of course.
Sir, 80% of the Gaza Strip is totally devastated. 80% of the Gaza Strip is devastated, according to the World Bank.
And the fault of who?
And that's restraint.
And the fault of who?
No, we'll get to the fault.
I'm asking you.
But the fact is, you're saying you're showing restraint.
Who attacked? The fault of who? Everything that happens in Gaza is under the responsibility of HAMAS. H-A-M-A-S, Hamas.
Okay, so you reach, let's for argument's sake, you say you reach that point.
Yeah.
Hamas does not control Gaza.
Sure.
They're not a military force anymore. What then?
The day after,
what
as I said
do you
before,
want to do with Gaza?
the day after. First of all, I left Gaza in 2005. I left Gaza.
Your prime minister, your boss said today that you're going to stay there indefinitely.
My prime minister, first of all, my prime minister, has the obligation towards history, to bring back the hostages and to eliminate Hamas from Gaza. This is why he has the support of the people. What will happen next? I can tell you what will not happen. Look, we have a new American administration.
So you're avoiding the question. I'm asking.
I'm not avoiding. I'm still
times.
answering. If you'll allow me to answer,
Sure,
we still have a new, for example, American administration, and you heard the American president who spoke, not me. I mean, it's not Prime Minister Netanyahu. It's the American president who spoke maybe of migration, consent, of course, consent migration of Gazawi people towards other places if they want.
Will Israelis resettle Gaza? Because there are people in your government who are making plans as we speak for the resettlement of Gaza.
I know that in Gaza, there was an Israeli settlement. I know that in Gaza, we had control before 2005. I know that the 7th of October wouldn't have happened or occurred at that time. Yet, I did not hear my prime minister, which I speak a lot, speaking about occupation in Gaza, settlements in Gaza.
Does Israel want to resettle Gaza?
I didn't hear my prime minister speak about it. I didn't hear the Israeli official.
Members in the Israeli government who
By the
are
way,
saying this, who are working with these plans.
When I look at myself at the mirror, I never hear myself saying such a thing. If that's what you want, if it's your fantasy, maybe it's yours.
No, it's a fantasy of members of
some
the
they're
Israeli
allowed
government.
to, by the way. Some also, they have also some who have the fantasy of, how would I say, of a two-state solution and having a terrorist state beside me. That's also a fantasy. We're a democracy.
Okay, so the Israeli government does not want to resettle
It's not
Gaza?
an official line. I didn't hear it. You also didn't hear it.
Good. Israel is facing an unprecedented global wave of condemnation. Many countries, among them Norway, which we talked about, traditional allies of your country, say that you're violating international law by using disproportionate force against the Palestinians, committing war crimes. So the main point, genocide. Is Israel committing genocide on the Palestinians?
Are you serious by asking this question? Are you serious? Do you consider yourself a serious journalist by asking me such a question? I'll tell you why. When UNRWA was created, how many Palestinians did you have?
You tell me.
No, I'm asking you. How many?
I don't have that number.
100,000, 200,000? How many Palestinians do you have today? Speak about millions, of course. Never ever have I seen in history a nation suffering genocide and growing so much. Stop with this ridiculous question. No, Israel is a moral country. Israel respects international law. Israel respects humanitarian law. And Israel has the right to defend itself.
Okay.
And this is something that I'm afraid you don't accept, you don't agree.
Amnesty International, sir.
Now I can
Amnesty
see.
International
No,
does
you're
not
not.
agree
You're
with
not.
you.
You're not.
Let me give you the sources of what I'm quoting.
If you're asking me after the 7th of October, when Israel fights for its life, because if they could, they would have killed all of us. So if we defend ourselves, and you speak of a genocide, when in the last 20 years, you did have wars against terrorism, and you would never have such a question to other nations. But to ask the Jews, of course you can ask this question. Why? Because the Jew defends himself. No. You would prefer...
it's not about defending yourself, it's the way you're defending yourself in a disproportionate way.
Because Israel,
I'll give you the sources.
For you,
I'll give you the
Israel
sources
is not
and then you
allowed
answer,
to defend
sir.
itself.
According to Amnesty, who published a 296-page report published in December 2024, backed by forensic evidence, they say Israel is committing a genocide. Your response to that?
It's a bunch of liars and lies.
So
and
Amnesty
again, as I
International
said,
is lying about Israel?
Israel committing a genocide, and you think I should respond to such a thing when I have all my boys dying because, instead of sending my jets, kids are going inside, and I've seen it. And you talk to me about genocide when I bury my children? You sit here in front of me, and you consider me, you're like, as the, asking me like question, investigator, and I'm supposed to justify myself. No, sir. Not only I don't justify myself, but I look at your questions, and honestly, not only I didn't come to justify, but I say that in 10, 20, 30 years, my kids will be proud of me because I'm trying to bring hostages and finding evil. What you're doing right now is defending evil. And this is absurd, this is gross, And this is not very respectful for you and your profession.
So by questioning Israel's atrocities or war crimes...
by mentioning genocide, it's an insult to my country, it's an insult to my soldiers, it's an insult to my daughter, it's an insult to my father, it's an insult to myself. But you're proud of yourself because you're going to go back to Norway. Yes, I had such a question. It's totally untrue, absurd, a lie. But what do you care?
Okay. So you don't believe Amnesty, you don't believe Human Rights Watch, UN experts are discredited in your eyes?
I believe what I see, I believe reality, I believe my soldiers, I believe myself, I believe my government, I believe Israel.
Now some of Israel's most respected Holocaust scholars accuse your government of genocide. We're talking about Jewish scholars. Professor Amos Goldberg, you know him well, I presume, a leading Israeli Holocaust historian, wrote, "Yes, it is genocide. It is difficult and painful to admit, but after 6 months of brutal war, we can no longer avoid this conclusion." This is one of the most respected Jewish scholars saying that your government is committing genocide.
9 people here in Israel, or the Jews in Israel, some of them, are very proud of their army. You can quote 1, you can quote 2. I can quote all the millions in Israel who support their soldiers, who believe in their soldiers, who are proud of their soldiers. I am very, very proud of my army. I'm very proud of the way they fight. I'm very proud of their devotion. I'm very proud of the way they respect international law, sometimes even by dying, by getting a bullet, because we don't do it as we could have done it easily by planes, because we respect human lives. And the difference here is that here in Israel, missiles protect civilians. Over there, civilians protect missiles. Can I ask you a question? You invited me for an interview.
Yes.
And I hope you leave it, because you can afterwards cook your interview and choose whatever you want. You come here and you really think I'm going to sit in front of you. After my country being savagely raped, you come to my country, you invite me for an interview, and all I hear is Israel, my soldiers, genocide, being accused. Nothing about the way we are fighting, the way we respect international law, a bit of honesty from your side. I mean, what is this? What is this? Is this an interview, or is this a j'accuse? You're on the wrong side of history, not me. I defend my population. We defend our country. We're proud of our soldiers. And if those soldiers, those brave soldiers, you come here, you land here, and you think you're allowed to accuse us of genocide and it's like this, no, sir, it's not. We do not allow you. We're Israel. We're proud of who we are. Anyway, your interview is a propaganda against Israel. Please continue.
Fine. It's your right to say that. Let's continue.
It's not my right. It's the right of honesty.
One of the key stages of any genocide is dehumanization. Okay? Israeli ministers and generals have repeatedly used language that strips Palestinians of their humanity. Let's go through a few of those examples. Again, this is not taken from thin air. In October 2023, you tweeted, "It must not be forgotten that even the innocent citizens, in brackets, the cruel and monstrous people from Gaza took an active part in the pogrom in the Israeli settlements, in the systematic murder of Jews and the shedding of their blood, in the kidnapping of children, old people and mothers, and tying up babies and burning them alive. One mustn't pity the cruel. There is no place for any humanitarian gesture." Do you stand by that statement?
What do you do with people, civilians, who come and kill your babies? What do you do with them?
Sorry, I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you.
Questions.
I'm asking you. You ask me.
Do you stand by that statement?
But innocent civilians? Civilians who come and kill and rape, what are they? Tell me. Define. No. I mean, you seem to know everything.
No.
Define.
What do you mean by this statement?
I'll tell you what I
you're
mean by
saying.
Civilians. Well, I'll tell you what I mean.
Please explain.
Those who come and kill me, those who come and kill me, those who come, and this is why in brackets, innocent civilians. As I said before, and you recall perfectly well what I said, I know what I tweet.
I just quoted you.
Of course. People who come and kill, rape, kidnap, slaughter. In Norway, what do you do with them? You give them a medal? I'm asking you. What do you do in Norway with someone who comes with people who rape in Norway? What do you do with them? What do you do with criminals in Norway? What do you do with them? You give them medals? What is this? What you don't allow in Norway, I'm supposed to allow in Israel? Those who come and kill, those who come who viciously kill, I'm very sorry, I mean. They're not, how would I say, they're not angels. Okay. Maybe in your, wait a second. Now I understand with your little smile. Now I understand. maybe because they came to Israel and they killed Israelis or they killed Jews and it's okay. Maybe this is your logic, sir. Ah, now I understand. Please continue. Took me time, you see. It took me half an hour to understand your logic. Please
Okay,
continue.
so you stand by that statement. So, your heritage minister, Amichai Eliyahu, said nuking Gaza was an option and called for methods more painful than death for Palestinians. Do you condemn that statement?
I told you what I believe in.
Yeah.
Israeli government has 3, I would even say 4 objectives.
Yeah.
The objectives are, and I can say it again, I said it, I'll say it again.
I'm
Hamas
asking you
will
about
not
a very
reign.
specific quote,
Ask him.
sir.
You invited me.
Yes.
Ask him.
These are
Call
people
him.
in the Israeli government saying
Call him,
we
ask
should
him.
nuke Gaza?
Call him. Ask him. But again, you speak of Gaza. I mean, you know what is the problem?
Sir, the problem, honestly, is that you're avoiding you're dodging every question.
No, I'm not. The problem is, I'll tell you what is the problem.
You're dodging every question.
I'll tell you the problem. The problem is ignorance. Now, it's ignorance. It's not only that you don't show any sympathy to Israel, you don't understand what has happened on 7th of October. Now I understand. I mean, how would I say? I was a bit disturbed by your questions, but now I understand either you don't show any sympathy, or maybe, I mean, you took side, maybe you're on the side of Hamas, which is totally possible, or maybe you don't exactly understand what has happened here. In 3 cases, it's not very nice for you. Yet I understand. Please continue.
Israel's president, Isaac Herzog, said it's an
That's him.
entire nation out there that is responsible. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true. What do you think about these kind of blanket statements
I'll tell you only
accusing
2 things.
all of the Gazan population for the atrocities of Hamas?
I'll tell you 2 things, but again, I understand. When he speaks of, as you quoted, or as you said right now, we quoted this tweet about the entire population, or I don't know.
Being responsible, yeah.
Responsible. Who voted for Hamas? My grandmother came out of her grave and voted for Hamas, or the Palestinian people?
40% of the Gazans voted for Hamas in 2005.
And do they want Jews not to exist?
Half of Gaza's population is under
Civilians
18.
in Gaza, okay,
They
let's go 40%.
They didn't even exist when Hamas came to power.
Continue.
I'll give you a last quote from your former defense minister, Yoav Gallant. We're fighting human animals and acting accordingly. Do you condemn that statement?
How would you call them? I mean, I'm sorry, are you serious? Are you serious with those questions? You come here only looking, my God, he said this, and there's a comma over there. Yes, I mean, those who did the 7th of October are barbarians, are vandals, are Huns. Here and I say, how would you call them?
Do you believe all Gazans are human animals? This
of
is
course
the
not,
question.
but I said it.
Yeah.
But what did I say before? Didn't I say to you during this interview that you will see afterwards, and when you will cook it, of course, and take only what suits you? So, 7th of October, what did I say? We're at war after 7th of October, but I also said that the Gazawi people deserve a better government or better ruling entity than a terrorist group. Did I say it or no? But of course you forgot, because you only remember what you want. But please continue. You're so transparent.
Let's move on, sir.
Very nice person.
The issue of ethnic cleansing.
What?
Ethnic cleansing.
We go back again, please.
Ethnic cleansing is generally defined as the deliberate and systematic removal of an ethnic, religious, or racial group from a particular geographic area by force or intimidation. This is the common definition of ethnic
This
cleansing.
is exactly, we speak of the Hamas Charter. No. To clean Jews from Israel.
Sir, this is a general. We're not talking about Hamas or Israel. This is a general definition.
You see, only to show you.
So
this doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother you.
I haven't even gotten to the question.
It doesn't bother you.
I haven't even
but you
asked
see how
you
you
the
are,
questions.
but you're transparent.
So the question is Israel ethnically cleansing the Palestinians?
No.
No. Okay.
Definitely no. And the fact that I even have to
Finally, we get a clear answer from you, sir. Finally, we get a clear answer.
But this is a ridiculous question.
The reason why I asked you why Israel...
Please continue.
If Israel is ethnically cleansing the Palestinians is because your military is right now forcibly displacing hundreds of thousands of Gazans from their homes.
Protecting them.
Time and again.
Protecting them. And they will come back to a better Gaza.
I'll give you ample time. I'm not done with the question, sir.
Protecting them.
Let me finish. Okay, so they've been forced from their homes time and again.
Because of Hamas.
In many cases, they're denied safe return. You've been forcing the population from zone to zone, and then you say this place is safe, then you bomb that area. Thousands of people have been killed. Right now, you've stopped all aid. No food is entering Gaza. No medicines are entering Gaza. and then you speak of voluntary migration from Gaza. Are you giving the Gazans any choice but to leave?
Let me explain to you. First of all, the war in Gaza could stop in exactly, what time is it now? In Israel, 22? In 2 minutes. Hostages are back. Hamas is not controlling Gaza. The war is over. The war is over. Not only that, I do believe that Gaza, in a few years from now, when you will go and as a tourist over there, I believe it will be a much better place in the future. Yes, the perspective for Gaza, because Hamas will not be there. Because, of course, you will have countries, investing over there. You will have countries, rebuilding Gaza, which is good for the Gazawi people. So, on the contrary, and we shall have a Middle East without terrorist entity. Not in Lebanon, not in Syria, not in Iraq, and, of course, hopefully, not a threat against Israel, a nuclear threat from Iran. So, hopefully, concerning Gaza, I think that it will be a much better life for them.
Your government blocked the entry of food, medicine, fuel, and other essential supplies.
My country has given more than 1.5 million tons. But again, if you want to rewrite history, please do it. Do it by yourself.
So for now, there is no food or medicine.
There is food, there is medicine, and there is
nothing
fuel.
Is entering from your side of the border.
There is food, there is fuel,
the
and
question
Israel will not
everybody
stop.
in the world is asking, why is Israel starving the people of Gaza?
But again, as you said before, genocide, starving, ethnical cleansing, my God, everything is here. I say again, nonsense, lies. And honestly, sir, the same way you accuse me, I accuse you of being an anti-Semite, anti-Israeli journalist, and this is what you are. Please continue. This is what you are. You're an anti-Israeli journalist who comes here. If you dare to speak, because I was interviewed by so many medias, never ever, and the Google, I gave interviews to every channel you can imagine. Your questions and the way you run this interview. And you see, I listen to you because I know who I am, and I'm very proud of Israel. So I'll let you continue, ask anything you want.
Did you just call me an anti-Semite for asking questions based
because you don't
on
allow
UN reports, on Amnesty reports, based on Human Rights Watch, UN experts, Israeli scholars?
That's what you do right now.
So now
that's
I'm
what you do.
An anti-Semite?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
For asking questions about your war?
If you accuse me,
I'm asking questions.
The Jewish
I'm not
nation.
accusing
No,
you
I'm
of
asking
anything.
you, yes, sir. What you're doing in this interview is a disgrace, sir. You're a disgrace to the profession of journalism. You're a disgrace because I can show you the pictures of bones of kids have been beheaded. What you're doing right now, you're biased, of course, but what you're doing here, you come and you're very proud of yourself. No, sir.
Let's talk about our profession because you're a former prominent journalist. You're an editor. Let's talk about the editor-in-chief
of number one Israeli newspaper, former ambassador in an Arabic country where I built an hospital over there.
Let's talk about the attacks on the press.
Yeah.
Okay. More than 200 journalists have been killed.
You will also teach me about the press in Israel, but please, I'm ready to get
I will just quote some facts for you, sir. I will quote some facts. More than 200 journalists have been killed by Israeli forces in the Gaza war, making it, you covered a lot of wars, making it the deadliest war for journalists ever. More journalists are killed in Gaza than in both world wars, Vietnam, the former Yugoslavia, and Afghanistan combined, according to the Watson Institute's Cost of War project. As a former journalist and editor, can you explain to us why Israel is killing Palestinian journalists on a mass scale?
Do you take it for granted? Israel is killing journalists, that's what you say.
Independent sources
not only it's not
the
that.
Committee to
Sir,
protect
as I said again,
Committee to Protect Journalists has documented
journalists came here to Israel to kill us, sir.
Dozens of cases where your forces have targeted Palestinian journalists. You don't believe them either?
Sir, no, I don't believe. You're lying.
I'm not making this up. This is numbers, findings
all
from the Committee of Protection of Journalists.
All this interview, I am sorry because I was polite. I came and I participated in the biggest masquerade that I've ever participated in journalism. Again, journalists came to Israel. By the way, is it true that they came with a GoPro and filmed themselves and posted it? Not only we do not kill journalists, journalists came to kill us. Upside down, sir. Your interview, all the questions, upside down, but there's a problem. As you're anti-Israeli, and this is totally clear right now, you will do everything to defend your cause. You're going to post it. You're going to be very, very, very proud of yourself. But your grandkids will see that you're on the side of a terrorist group and not of a country that defends itself. Please continue.
Okay. In 2024, Israeli forces killed Al Jazeera journalist Ismail Al-Ghul in the Gaza Strip. Again, why is Israel assassinating Palestinian journalists?
Assassinating. Israel is assassinating.
According to the Committee for Protection of Journalists, yes.
Israel is assassinating.
In dozens of cases, you have targeted journalists specifically.
Israel is not targeting journalists.
While they're wearing their vests, visibly in the streets with their camera equipment, not hiding behind buildings. Dozens of cases have been documented.
Please. Next slide.
Okay, so you reject that?
Reject.
Okay.
Continue.
Mm-hmm. The CPJ says there is
And
evidence...
by the way, I will only add when I reject
that
every casualty, civilian in Gaza or journalist or whatever, under the responsibility of Hamas, as you know perfectly well.
As a journalist, sir,
please
explain to us...
Ex-journalist.
Ex-journalist, yes,
yeah,
good.
Good, you can smile.
Why you've covered wars? You know how important it is for the press to cover wars, to cover the consequences of war, to meet the people who are suffering under war. Why is the Israeli government not allowing international press into the Gaza Strip to do what you did in Iraq?
This is a war zone, and in any war zone, I covered Kosovo war, I covered Iraq war, I covered Afghanistan war. There were restrictions, and you should know it as well. You know it better than me. There are restrictions, and many times, in this case, for example, my restrictions is in order to protect you as a journalist.
So I've been in this line for 20 years. I've covered the war in Afghanistan for about 15 years.
You?
Yes.
Good.
I've covered Syria.
Where have you been? Maybe
Israel and Palestine for many years. I've been to Ukraine. Never, ever have I experienced a warring party denying access totally to a war zone. We can go to Ukraine and the Ukrainians will take us to the front lines and let us cover what's happening there. We can go and ask the Russians and they will allow us to their side of the front lines. Why?
Can I challenge you? We speak now for 45 minutes. We said 40 minutes, half an hour. And you see, I play the game with you. I stay more. I challenge you. Is there anything positive about Israel? Is there anything positive about this country, or everything is bad? Are we the vicious? Are we the evil one? I'm asking you a question. You are a journalist covering between Israel and Gaza.
Right now, your prime minister has an arrest warrant agast him.
By the way,
for war crimes,
imagine
for starving a population. Right now, there is a war going on, fought by your forces as well. I'm here because the whole world has a lot of questions about the way you're conducting this war. The plans you have for Gaza. What are you going to do with the Palestinians in Gaza? When I ask the questions, you tell me, is there anything positive about Israel?
The fact that my prime minister and the Ministry of Defense at the time, Yoav Gallant, Prime Minister Netanyahu, being, as you said, I mean, the ICC was it, the ICC. There, how would I say? I try to look at history. I try to imagine 8 years ago, ICJ, for example, being sitting over there as the accused, Great Britain, for example, fighting the Nazis, or I imagine ICC summoning Winston Churchill. Ridiculous. Our grandkids will despise what ICC and ICJ have done, would despise. And this is a stain in all those institutions. And I sit in front of you as a very proud member of parliament, as a very proud ex-journalist, as a very proud ex-officer of the Israeli army, as a very proud father of an Israeli soldier.
Where do we go from here, Mr. Bismuth?
To a much better Middle East, I promise you. Much better one.
How does that Middle East look like? Please explain.
It will look amazing. It will look, first of all, when we're fighting for this victory, it's also fighting for peace. And one thing is certain. In 10 years, in 100 years, in 1,000 years, Israel will be here, strong, Jewish, and democratic.
Boaz Bismuth, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
For your generous time.
Very generous, but you, sir.